Shalom. Call him La Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahushai. Ba'ashem Rachak. Double honor to the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone, who still rule and teach well. Peace, blessings, and safety unto the Lord's elect scattered throughout the four corners of the planet Earth, pushing this word in humility and sincerity is commanded by Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. The title of this video is Let Your Women Keep Silence in the Churches, and if they will learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home. And that's a quote directly from the Bible, 1 Corinthians, the 14th chapter. And I'm watching Apostle Tahar's video, and he's talking about this situation with, which is not really, it's old news now, Guerrilla Hebrew, and all the madness that he was apparently doing, and all the women, and this guy Shar Ariala, and Guerrilla Hebrew, and Captain Tazariak, and Guerrilla Hebrew's wives, and the other sisters. When you're watching Shar's video, he's talking about how the other wife called, and this wife, and then she called the brother and the other brother, and and this is why we don't have women in Great Millstone. Okay, y'all criticize us, y'all ridicule us, y'all call us moles, y'all say that we got more love for brothers than we do for our families, which is true. But y'all say that we don't take care of our families. We don't have families, we don't have jobs because y'all don't see our women. Well, this is why y'all don't see our women. Okay? This is exactly why. Because women bring confusion. Okay? So this is why the women stay at home. Our women don't congregate amongst each other. If they happen to connect, because it does happen, every once in a while, a brother wife will meet another brother wife, and if they happen to connect, they'll meet, occasionally, once every 2 months, not every day or every week, or so this is what happens. Confusion is brought in. You got witnesses, but the witnesses are sketchy. All these different stories of irrelevancy, because none of this stuff pertains to salvation. This is all a distraction. Instead of talking about breakdowns or prophecy, this is what these guys are occupied in. This is what their church is occupied in. And this just, it's a bad look for Israel. Not to the elect, because the elect are not going to be deceived. They're not going to be swayed. They're not going to be, because this is still the truth. But this is the truth done wrong. And the truth done right is, like I said, let your women keep silence in the churches. And if they learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home. Let's read that one. It's 1 Corinthians chapter 14. And verse 33, it says, "For the Heavenly Father is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints. Let your women keep silence in the churches." Right. So the Heavenly Father, he led with Apostle Paul, he led with the Most High is not the author of confusion. You see? And then he goes on to say, because of that, let the women not talk. Okay? Because they will bring confusion. And if they got any questions, they was watching the video and they heard, watching one of your, because really she should only be watching your videos if she watches videos. But like Pastor said, majority of brothers, you don't need to let your woman know about the truth, man. You don't need to let her know. She gonna find out anyway, because it's who we are. You just deal with her according to how a man deals with a woman. 1 Corinthians 14. But like I said, if she does watch your videos, she's supposed to ask you at home. Or if she does find out who you are, and then she Googles, Hebrew Israelites, and she's trying to watch videos behind your back to figure you out, she's supposed to ask you at home, not get the information from these other people. Not if you're having trouble with your relationship, we need to call a counsel so that other men can tell you how to deal with your woman. Tells you in the book of Proverbs, who knoweth the way between a man and his maid. Let me see if I can get that. It's Proverbs chapter 30, verse 18. There be 3 things which are too wonderful for me, yet 4 which I know not. The way of an eagle in the air, the way of a serpent upon a rock, the way of a ship in the midst of the sea, and the way of a man with a maid. You see? So he said the 4th I know not, which is the way of a man with a maid. You don't know how a man deals with his woman, or, the type of connection that a man has with his woman, and how he needs to fix his woman or fix his situation. The man knows. The woman don't know. It's the woman's job to follow the man's solution. And not other men, but her husband. 1 Corinthians 14, verse 34. Let your women keep silence in the churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law. And if they will learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home. For it is a shame for women to speak in the churches. So this is why our women are at home. This is why our women are at home. Then we don't have a building where we go to every Saturday, camp day, and you got the women sitting on the left hand side and the men sitting on the right hand side. We don't have that. We don't have that. No. And everybody's congregating and shalom and everybody's hugging each other and greeting each other. No, we don't have that. That's how adultery and confusion is brought in. This is 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 14. I will therefore that the younger women marry, bear children, guide the house, give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully. Right, so stay in the house. That way the adversary can't speak against you. They don't even see you. Can't nobody say you was out there, with wanton eyes because you was in the house. It says in 1 Timothy 5 and 14, I will therefore that the younger women marry, bear children, guide the house, give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully. Okay? So, look, this is why we don't have women in our churches, man. Scriptures speak about sitting in the midst of women. Let me see. Let's type sit. Men and women not supposed to be sitting in the midst together. Women's supposed to be at home, and the men's supposed to be out at war. First, Sirach, not first nothing. This is the book of Sirach now, chapter 42, Ecclesiasticus chapter 42, and verse 12. It said, behold not every woman's beauty, and sit not in the midst of women. For from garments cometh a moth, and from women wickedness. Right. The apostles, they always give the testimony about how at the old school you had women with mini skirts, fringes on mini skirts. Or you had women coming in there showing their cleavage. You had women coming in there with 6-inch heels, like it was Sunday service, like it was in their Sunday best, But that brings adultery, that brings lust, and that's just unacceptable. Okay? And there was so much confusion back then that the apostles said no more women. It says in verse 14, better is the churlness of a man, churlness meaning rudeness, rude. Even like a cruel type of rude. It said better is the churlness of a man than a courteous woman. Why? Because a courteous woman, that's a woman you got to watch out for. She being extra nice, extra friendly. She's seducing. It said better is the churlness of a man than a courteous woman. A woman, I say, which bringeth shame and reproach. So sit not in the midst of women. That was the point, verse 12. Behold not everybody's beauty, and sit not in the midst of women. So this is why. Like I said, y'all criticize us, but we're showing you the right way. We're showing you the right way. Lord was edifying. Just quick hit. Call me Shalom.